know Doctor Who. And if you don't, then you can go.
Hello guys, you're watching Go.2 and today we're going to do Classical August, basically reviewing 5 classic episodes each week, one a week. And today we're going to do the 3 Doctors. So yeah, let's just get into it. There's a lot to get through, there's a lot to talk about. I've got my notes to keep me on track. So yeah, the antimatter universe basically is in the black hole sort of thing, where I'm getting my head around it. And basically the Time Lords are getting their energy sucked out, or their Time Lord energy and all that sort of stuff. Basically, Time Lords are getting drained in a way. And with that, they call Unit is shooting these antimatter creatures who basically look like a big ball of bubble wrap with red stuff in them, and they are constantly tackling Unit, and Unit's having to fight them, and nothing's getting through them. And then we have this antimatter goo that takes Bessie, the yellow car that obviously is quite famous to the Third Doctor, and we have our antagonists, and we have Joe Grant, the Third Doctor, the Brigadier, Sergeant Benton, the Unit soldiers, Omega, the Second Doctor, the Third Doctor, and Time Lords. And that's basically the characters we get throughout this. We also have 2 humanoids I'm not particularly sure on. One of them was just a random person that got taken, and then he was in it, and then he got brought back to his own time, and then they made an ongoing joke of the woman going, "Where were you?" And he just goes, "You'll never believe me anyway, woman. Where's dinner?" You know, it's just a little wittiness to end off on a good note for the episode. And that was basically his character. There was another character who I obviously didn't pay enough attention to notice that much. I'm not particularly sure of him, but everyone seemed to know who he was. So I'm not going to talk much about him. Yes, so basically with episode 1 we get basically Unit getting taken down by these antimatter people, the Doctor sending contact to the Time Lords, and then after that we get the Time Lords sending, they can't help the Doctor, so they're sending himself, they're sending the Second Doctor to help, and the Second Doctor and the First Doctor are battling out witty, they're playing the flute, and it's just so funny to see, and so nice interaction, and then having to show Joe, the companion, Joe Grant, that that is the same person, showing the audience that it's the same person if you didn't know. And that was quite nice and up to date to keep you where this is. And then we see, because they're bickering too much, the Time Lords send the First Doctor. The First Doctor's trapped in this like triangle sort of dimension thing, and basically what he's doing is basically giving them information constantly. You could say the First Doctor's kind of like an information thing. What is a bridge for? Crossing, so cross it. And then you've got another moment where he comes and then he leaves again, and then comes back and goes and tells you more information, and then he leaves again and tells you more information, and this happens throughout the 4 stories. And then we get to see him one last time and say well done and all that sort of stuff, and dandy and a clown, you know, all that. So that was quite nice to see from the First Doctor. He obviously didn't play much of a role because he was ill. Then we go on to basically Joe and the Third Doctor go out TARDIS and they get taken, and that leaves for a cliffhanger. 8 out of 10 for the first part. Now on to the second part. The Brigadier and the Second Doctor. So the Brigadier has to understand that there is actually 2 Doctors, but they're the same Doctor, and he's not quite believing that at this aspect. And it's quite nice to see Unit, the Brigadier and the Second Doctor interacting. It's quite nice and fun to see. Oh yes, Omega draining the power. Yes, we've got that. First Doctor sending more messages, keeping me on track with my notes here. Yes. Yeah, there's just basically the Unit getting took at the end of part 2, and getting transported to the antimatter universe with Omega. And that's about it for the second part, really. 8 out of 10 again. I think it's a solid structure. Like, it does feel like it's interesting. It didn't felt boring. It didn't feel like any of that. I noticed, I think this is in episode 3 now, the wobbly sets and the monster trying to chase them, and it bounces off the wall. That was hilarious. And and you have these bubble wrap on the wall. It's quite interesting, you could say. Unit again trying to get away from Omega, then they get to Omega, and Omega versus the Third Doctor was quite interesting in this. I liked how we were learning about Omega, more detail. This is the Doctor's history, this is the planet history, until Chibnall came along and gone just with a rubber or Tipex and just rubbed that bit out, you know. But yeah, well, he didn't rub out the Omega thing. You can't give credit to that. But anyway, let's forget about Chibnall. A Third Doctor versus Omega was quite nice at the end of the final part. It was mind control and contact and the fighting in the dark side of Omega's mind. That was interesting. A bit weird though. They had this weird creature fighting the Third Doctor, and he's going, "Hey," and it's all silent and weird and it's dark and it's very classic Who. What else have we got here? First Doctor sending more messages. Yes, the Time Lords getting saying that Omega got trapped and he blames the Time Lords, he wants to escape, and then so on and so on. Then we have contact with the First and the Second Doctor and the Third Doctor. That was fun, giving up-to-date knowledge. And finally, I'm going to give this an 8.5, just a bit more, because I actually really enjoy this story more than any other of the other parts, to be fair. And yes, Unit gets brought to this other dimension. You see the Brigadier reacting weirdly and fun. That's interesting. And now we're on to the fourth part. Basically, Omega versus the Second and Third Doctor in a way. They're trying to trick Omega, because everything that to do with the antimatter is to do with Omega, and Omega is will and power overall. And we have that, and then we have just going to make sure, hold on, the volume doesn't mess up for this. Right, carry on. Yes, so we have Omega being tricked by the Doctors, because basically he wants to escape this antimatter universe, and we have Jo, who doesn't really do much in this story, but she's interesting and fun. Kate Manning plays her brilliantly well. And when the Doctors finally tricked the Omega with the flute kept on getting mentioned, and you just thought, geez, will the Second Doctor stop with that flute? But no, it actually played a vital part, because they put it into, it fell in the TARDIS, and it was the only thing the antimatter universe didn't touch, and because it was from a different universe, it could destroy the actual antimatter universe, if that makes any sense. Yes, it is very timey-wimey, and yeah, I think it made sense, it worked. It did feel kind of a bit quick of an ending, but I also liked Jo and Sergeant Benton getting trapped, and them not following the Doctor's orders. Also like the other guy not following the Doctor's orders and trying to run off, and then he ends up back to the Doctor's anyway. And these big blobby creatures chasing after him. I could be one of those. I'm getting a double chin for it. What else could I say? Yeah, I just liked Omega. He's a bit shouty. He was like, "I am Omega. You will obey me. How dare you?" He's very pompous. He's very up himself. He's very like, "I am everything. You should obey me." Someone's not told him no in a while. You can definitely tell. Yeah, this story gets an 8 out of 10 because it wasn't as good as the other parts, but overall we're getting 8s throughout each episode, which is interesting and good. So yeah, credit to it. 8 out of 10 overall for this story. Third Doctor is really well. The Second Doctor has got a lot of attention, and I love that. Brigadier was hilarious with scenes and trying to take him seriously and taking control of certain situations. The blobby monsters was hilarious. Omega was good, a bit overrated as other people may suggest. I don't think he would work in New Who. I think he works well in Classic Who, but I don't think he would work in the new aspect of the show, which people may go against me for. You know, they could do it, it's Doctor Who, they can do anything, but I don't think it would work unless they changed the mask up a little bit and made it a bit more realistic. Yeah, this is a solid story and a good multi-Doctor story to go on, and I really enjoyed it. 8 out of 10 overall, which isn't bad, and yeah, join me next Saturday for the 5 Doctors, yes, and join me for the Arc Infinity, I think it is, and then we also have Genesis of the Daleks for Classic Month on the channel. So this is the first of many of the Classic Month, and yeah, hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and try and get we're trying to get to more subscribers, so if you could definitely help us, hit that red button, it'd be helpful. And I will see you guys for another video very soon. Have a nice day.